Good morning everyone, how you doing? It's Paul here from Unusual Things. Now this morning I have brought you to Highland Road Cemetery in Southsea, in Portsmouth of course, and we have come to find the final resting place of Reginald Robinson Lee. Now I will tell you a bit about Reginald real soon. I have been to this cemetery before and I think it was for was it a relative of Charles Dickens or someone like that? I can't remember. We did a live from here once before, I think. Anyway, we'll have a little look for Reginald's final resting place and I'll tell you a bit about him. Now, just to give you a little bit of an insight, he was one of the lookout guys on the RMS Titanic, along with Frederick Fleet, whose final resting place we have visited before. He's buried in Southampton. And this chap, Reginald, was the guy that was working on shift that night with Frederick Fleet. So obviously they both survived. However, Reginald's story is completely different to Frederick's. We'll get there in the end. If you liked the video today, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. It does not cost you a single penny. Someone said to me the other day, why do you tell us that? Because the amount of people that watch my videos that don't subscribe is more than my subscribers that do watch, if that makes sense. And the only reason why I state that is because it does help promote and it gets the algorithm picking it up, pushing the channel out, and then for the person that said that, I can go and make more videos, which you obviously enjoy watching, but there you go. So we'll continue with it. We'll have a little look around and I'll tell you a bit about Reginald as well. I'm just looking at this one first of all. So before we get going, I'll just show you this video. Headstone. Now there seems to be a lot of these ones in here. Like real big heavy sort of crosses there. And there's another one over there, look. But whenever something catches the corner of my eye, it's always worth showing it to you guys straight away, because otherwise I'll just completely forget and walk past it later on. Anyway, I'll tell you a little bit about Reginald now, and we'll have a little look around the cemetery, shall we? Reginald Robinson Lee was born on May the 19th, 1870. in a town called Forum, located in Dorset. From a young age, he embarked on a maritime career by joining the Royal Navy, where he gained valuable naval experience over several years. After his time in the Navy, Lee continued working at sea, joining the British Merchant Service and serving on various ships before eventually becoming part of the White Star Line. Shortly before the Titanic's maiden voyage, in April 1912, Lee was transferred from her sister ship, the RMS Olympic, and on board the Titanic he was assigned the role of lookout. And on the night of April the 14th, he was stationed in the crow's nest alongside fellow seaman Frederick Fleet, who we discussed earlier on, of course. And that video is on the channel if you haven't seen Frederick Fleet's final resting place. Now, the two began their watch at 10 p.m. and a critical 2-hour shift that would encompass the moment when the Titanic collided with an iceberg at 11:40 p.m. Unfortunately, neither of the lookouts had binoculars that night, and a detail that would later become a significant point of concern during investigations into the disaster. When the iceberg came into view, Frederick Fleet was the one who rang the warning bell and phoned the bridge, while Lee was standing beside him, verifying the sighting. Though the night was described as dark, the visibility was otherwise clear and the sea unusually very calm. Despite this, the iceberg appeared too late to allow for any evasive action. Lee later escaped the sinking ship in lifeboat number 13 and survived the tragedy. In May 1912, Lee gave testimony before the British Board of Trade Inquiry, where he spoke candidly about the conditions of the crow's nest that night. He confirmed the absence of binoculars, noting that the equipment had been locked away and was not accessible to him or Fleet. He described seeing the iceberg at almost the same time as Fleet and explained the standard communication procedures between the lookouts and the bridge. Lee also revealed that no warning had been given to the lookouts about the presence of the icebergs in the area, even though the Titanic had received multiple iceberg warnings earlier on that day. Lee's statements painted a picture of a clear but challenging night where crucial information and equipment were lacking. He recalled the Iceberg as a towering presence on the starboard bow, describing how it seemed to rise above the forecastle and appeared suddenly out of the darkness. "We had no lookout glasses, sir," he testified. "I had no glasses at all, and I do not think the other lookout had any either." Despite the night's clarity, the absence of binoculars and the lack of advance warning left the lookouts at a disadvantage. Sadly, Reginald Robinson Lee's life was cut short just a year after the Titanic disaster. He died on August 6, 1913 in Southampton, reportedly of pneumonia, at the age of 43. Though his name is less well known than the others associated with the Titanic, his role that night and the evidence he provided afterwards remains a valuable part of the story of one of history's most infamous maritime tragedies. So there we have the information there on Reginald Robinson Lee. Now you've got to feel for those two guys, him and Frederick Fleet, you know, being almost held responsible in a way. But, you know, if you're not given the equipment to do the job and you're not given notice of the warnings that the bridge had got, then there's no way that those two men should or could have ever felt guilty or responsible for what happened. Now, I do know that Frederick Fleet, after researching his and visiting his final place, resting place, had a lot of guilt throughout his whole life, which he carried through the majority and sadly came to a tragic end. And like I say, if you haven't seen that video, go and watch it. Now, Reginald, he didn't have that because he literally passed away the following year of what was believed to be pneumonia. So it's a very sad situation for the two guys on the lookout. I mean, it's a sad situation, full stop. The whole Titanic thing is a very, very sad story. But for those two men in particular, such responsibility, you know. I know the captain has the overall responsibility, but imagine being one of the people in the crow's nest, where your main job is to keep an eye out for the icebergs, but you don't get any notification like the bridge did that they are in the area. You don't have any access to glasses, as he called them, or binoculars, as we would say. A whole catalogue of errors there for those two young men to take on their own shoulders. Anyway, we're going to have a look for his final resting place. Okay, so I've been having a good look around, and do you know what? I think I found it. Now from here, obviously I'll show you, but it looks like, I don't know whether it's a new stone or it's just really well maintained. It just looks so clear, so clean. Let's go and have a look, shall we? There we go. Right, now the writing's quite difficult to read because, but I'll try my best from here. Sacred something, memory William Lee, and then there's some other writing there which I can't quite read. And then down below, also Reginald Robinson, late assistant paymaster, RN, son of the above, who died August 6, 1913, age 43 years. Gone from, can't quite read that bit, and then it's got Jane Sarah Lee. Anyway, as we come over there, we look down here, look. And unless you really looked for this, you wouldn't know it because it's just covered up from obviously the wind and a little spider there. So here we got Reginald Robinson Lee, 1870 to 1913. Look out on RMS Titanic when the iceberg was sighted. Survived due to being assigned as a rower in a lifeboat. 13. Wow. So you've got the information there, but then when you look here, you see that bit of information there as well. So here we have the final resting place of Reginald Robinson Lee. And like I was saying earlier on, you know, the poor guy must have gone through so much guilt, and after such a traumatic event, what we seem to forget is a lot of these people would have had their own form of PTSD, surviving that and helping, and you know, survivor's guilt must be literally running through their veins. But poor Reginald didn't last long afterwards, literally a year later. So bless you, Reginald, and thank you so much for trying your best on that evening in April, trying to save all those people. And in a way he did, because he got on that rowing boat 13 I think it was, and you know, he was working afterwards as well. So bless you, Reginald. So there we had the final resting place of Reginald Robinson Lee, of course on the crow's nest on RMS Titanic back on that fateful night. Wow, it's amazing, isn't it? I literally, this is my home city, of course, I literally did not realise that his final resting place was there until someone the other day watched one of my other videos. I think it was a different Titanic video, and they said, "Paul, do you realise?" And I was like, no. Why did I not know that? But it goes to show, you know, that apparently there's quite a few people buried in here. Lots of, well, of course it is, it's a cemetery, but you know what I mean, there's quite a few people that have got some sort of notoriety within their lives, or had, of course. So maybe this is a cemetery that I need to come back and do a little bit more digging in, excuse the pun, but a little bit more work on, and see if there's any more people. I think before, when we did a live here, there was someone who was, now I don't know whether they were related to Charles Dickens or whether they were an inspiration for him. I can't remember now, but I'm going to go back and have a little look while we're here, because many of you may not have seen it, but I covered a live once, and I need to just have a little look to put my own mind at rest before we go. And I'm sure that you won't mind as well, just having a little look to see who that person was, and once I see it, it will probably come back to me and I will have an idea as to who it is. So we're going to have a little look. I'll just wait, because there's a lady up there walking with her dog, and I'm always conscious, as us guys should be, you know, if ladies are out on their own, especially in cemeteries and things, you know, not to make them feel a little bit alarmed or anything like that. So we'll just have a little slow walk along here, and I'm going to see if I can find out who the person was again. Oh, there's this one here, Georgina Margaret Hayman, Bridges, 1829-1910, a model for Little Dorrit, the Dickens Fellowship. Maybe that was the one I covered last time when I was here doing the live, actually. I think it was. Now my brain's in gear. So, thank you as always for watching, everyone. Don't forget, if you liked the video today, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell and you'll be notified when more videos come out. Now, if you've got any comments at all, if you're a Titanic fan, please leave them down below. If you've watched the Frederick Fleet video, thank you. And if you haven't, make sure you go and check it out. It's one of my earlier videos, I think literally from about 3 years ago or so. But I tell Frederick's story as well, who was of course the oppo to Reginald Robinson Lee, whose final resting place we've just been to see. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one. Take it easy.